Today I'll be showing you some application with flowers that has to be prepared in a particular manner. Basically wired before we use them in an application. You can wire flowers for boutonnieres, corsages, headdresses, as well as for bridal bouquets. Sometimes it depends on the flowers that you have. It may be a flower with a really thick stem, and for the bridal bouquet you want to lessen the stem so that the handle of the bouquet is easy for the bride to manage on her wedding day. Sometimes we cut that back on the day of the wedding before we wrap the bouquet with ribbon. My first example will be for a head wreath. I've started one, I don't know if you can see it, but I've started a head wreath just to show you. And this is a simple way because we will wire all of the flowers and then add them on together, and it would create a beautiful, flexible or bendable headdress that you can, situate it on the head of the person that will be wearing it. So to begin with, we're going to use a really small gauge wire. I have two size wires, and I'll explain that in a minute. The small gauge wire, I don't know if you can see that. There it is. The small gauge wire we'll use for the headdress. And the larger gauge wire we will use for a bigger flower. You can use this in succulents, kale, anything that's big that's going to sit in the bouquet. Sometimes the stems may not be as long or maybe too thick, and you would have to cut them and just wire them from the head to make it easier. Also, it makes it bendable, pliable, so that you can move it around in the arrangement as you like. Sometimes they may not be pointing in the right direction, and you would just want to angle it, and you have a little bit of room to manipulate that. So we'll start with wiring the headdress. I'm just using some leftover flowers from a project we had, and we would have to throw them away, and I figure what better way than to use them for a tutorial. So we will cut the flower from this. I'm using astramelas for the purpose of the headdress. Astramelas are very, very hardy. They last a really long time. They last a really long time in any application, and they're beautiful. All you have to do is spray them with water, and they'll hydrate that way. Most flowers hydrate from their petals, so we want to always spritz them with water. Some flowers do not like water. White roses, some of them don't wet them. You can hydrate them in other ways. Make sure the stems are cut and they get water with some floral food, and that's a good way but you can, when you're done with your arrangements, you can dress them with a finishing spray. So I'll show you here. We'll cut the flower. I don't know if I should come closer, but you cut the flower all the way to where the little bud is, and then you would wire it through. You take the wire and pierce it through the flower so it's hanging like that. This is also how they make lace in Hawaii as well. They run it through a thread, and then you get to wear it around your neck. For this flower we can just use one wire and just clip that wire. Use what I use to cut my wires. I don't want to use my clippers. That will definitely dull your clippers. Your floral cutters, usually you can cut wires at the edge here, but this one's not really designed for that. So we don't want to cut wires with it because the blade would get dented and it's going to be hard to sharpen and clean. I usually clean, here I'm going off in another thing, but it's good to talk about this now. I usually clean mine. I will spray some foaming bubbles on there, let it set for a couple minutes, and then just wipe them off, and I'll use a sharpening tool and just make sure the blades are sharp. For wire cutters, this one got damaged cutting wire, so we'll just use that for wires. But there's wire cutters that I have, I just can't locate them right now. So once you have that together, you will take your floral tape, which is very stretchy, and it sticks when it stretches, so I don't know if you can see that. And then you hold the flower, maybe this one, when it starts doing this and swiveling back and forth, you can actually put another piece of wire through the opposite end, making an X through through the calyx. I'm trying to think if that's the right word. Through the calyx of the flower. So what you can do is then start wrapping at the top of the flower, catching some of it in. And while stretching, I just broke that one. We'll do it over on another one. We'll leave a little bit more stem on the other one. I've wrapped a few of them today and they were fine. But gotta be very careful with it because they do get slippery, some of these flowers. And you can wear gloves if you're allergic. I just don't, and then later on I find out what I'm allergic to, as opposed to what I'm not allergic to. So we left a little stem on here so we can hold on to it a little bit better. And we're making an X through here. So we're putting one of the wires through one way and another one through the opposite. And I keep losing the flower. We'll go a little bit higher up through the petals. And then you wrap them. At this point, you pull and twist, and that's what you do, you pull and twist. At this point, what you could do, you can add any sort of greenery that you want to add with this flower, and you prepare all your flowers this way. You can add baby's breath, whatever you want to add together. What I did was I cut a piece of Italian ruscus, that's why you see all your leaves, little piece of Italian ruscus, and I put it together, and we'll just twist and turn and pull the floral tape as we're twisting. And you keep doing that, I would say about 18 to 21 times, depending on the size of your head. You could measure your head first. And you can just tape them together as you wire them. Just take the flowers and put them together and keep wrapping the floral tape on it while you're stretching and pulling. You prepare all your flowers first. So that already looks beautiful. You could just put that in your hair just like that, and it's beautiful. Also, the other thing that you can do is get some floral glue. This is waterproof and it dries very, very fast. Get some floral glue. I like to keep mine in the box just to keep it standing on the table when it's on the table and I'm using it. I don't want to get it on my hands or my table, so I will just put it in there and set it in there, because if you turn it over, it will drip out. So what I would also do is take this glue, and it dries really fast, so you have to work quickly with this glue. And I'll put a little bit on the product that I'm using to attach the flowers to. Sometimes you can attach it to themselves, like I explained before. I did that before to prepare for this video. And then you can just stick the flower on. So you can put on both sides, let it dry a little bit, and stick the flower on, and it would stay on. And you can keep doing that over and over and over and over until you have all the flowers. But I'll prepare all your flowers first, and do take measurements. When I get to the end, and this is just for training purposes, when I get to the end, I've glued most of these on, but when I get to the end, I will turn it the other way and wire it. And then I will bend the wire up so that you don't see the mechanics. So now it looks like it's finished. And on both ends, when I'm done with that, on both ends, I will tie, I'm using the pipe cleaner for this one because I want it to be light and very thin. When you wrap them together, you can wrap more flowers together, making your flower. You can wrap more of them together, which would give you a bigger look. This one would give you a thinner look. So I use glue to glue it directly to the pipe cleaner. And when I'm done, I'll bend it in half and then I'll twist it several times. And at the end of it that's twisted, I'll turn it up so that it doesn't dislodge. And you make sure that none of the wires is sticking out. And from here, I would go ahead and attach the ribbon. I would go ahead and attach the ribbon through here on both ends, and then you can tie it around your head. And this one would make, like I said, I'm just going to take the ribbon off, and turn the glue on. I just wanted to show you. I didn't want to make it because it takes a really long time to make, because you have to be very patient. It's a lot of wiring. So I went ahead and finished one that I actually wired the whole thing as opposed to gluing it on to the pipe cleaner. This is a different method. The other one, you're just taping it onto itself with the stems overlapping each other. You would do them overlapping each other, and you would just keep taping and overlapping and taping and overlapping as you go. But this one would give you that thinner look. And I put some hypericone berries on it, and that's what this looks like. And I went ahead and finished one earlier today, and this one I used a little bit more flowers, and as you can see, it's really pretty. It's nice for a flower girl or a party if you're having, and you can wear it on the back. I tied it in a bow because I just wanted to put it on to show. And these floral headdresses are actually very beautiful, and they're very in style, and everybody loves them. As a matter of fact, I could probably wear this one for the next video. But stay tuned, we're gonna do a hand-tied bridal bouquet using no amateurs, just the flowers only. We're gonna use all white flowers, and stay tuned.